Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we are preparing for Game 2 of our now Best of 3 series. A reminder, if you missed the top of the show, we are no longer Best of 2s in NACL. We are in the full Best of 3, and FlyQuest Challengers take Game number 1. DSG still have a chance to bounce back and take the whole series. But I want to check back in with you, Joshi, on some of the things we started off the series with, specifically players we're going to be focusing on, not just today, but throughout the spring split. Surdy and Shaden, two players that we know were being eyed for an LCS spot, but now with the team's reduction to 8 teams, are still in the NACL. How do we feel about the performance of them now that we've had some time to react to game number 1?
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Start with the good.
The good news. Shaden looks great. Like, this guy is already popping off in one of the tougher matchups that we were expecting him to go up against. He showcased, he has mechanics, he showcased, he could make plays of his own and follow up on some of the other people that we were already looking at, right? We knew that Perry might be one of the tougher challengers for Shaden, and he didn't seem to worry about it at all. He got top crab, he got bottom crab, and from that point on, Perry was just playing the entire game from behind. Now, Steve, the bad news,
okay,
it's not going to happen every game, right? We already know a couple of things. This is supposed to be one of the tougher things, and Surdy maybe didn't quite live up to the expectations that we had of him, but he's also going up against Tenacity, who he said he might be that guy, right? Like, if you're only losing to Tenacity, that is the only person who's giving you a problem in the league, you're still looking pretty darn good. And so my biggest question for FlyQuest Challengers is, what will they do when they aren't already this far ahead? When they don't get these leads coming off the bat, and we know that Disguise is one of the teams that we are expecting should have some game plans picked up right away. And so, I don't think this is going to be an easy 2-0. We'll see if FlyQuest can continue their streak of dominance, but we know that Disguise, they don't take these things lying down. They got too many people in chat who are rooting for them.
Exactly. And a reminder as to why we consider FlyQuest Challengers kind of the peak of the league for expectations going into the spring. A lot of these players have either played LCS or at top levels, or we expect to make that push very soon here. Disguise had a full rebuild. Young is returning, but new players around him. So let's talk about them now as we're getting ready for pick and ban of game number 2. What do we feel about Disguise's first look? Now, it's a tiny sample size, only one game, but how would you review so far?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is that we saw that they didn't have as prepared of an early game as FlyQuest Challengers did, right? The first thing that we saw is the fact that Quad, with the counter pick, was able to force Perry off the top crab and then the bottom crab as well. We also did see that the bottom lane lost a 2v2 and just died going up against Sajid and Chime, and I think that is going to be one of the biggest things that we are already looking for. We know the top half of this team is going to be very strong, but we do have a little bit of questions about their AD carry in particular, and I feel as though Sajid getting to showcase that he can play lane dominant with a new lane partner will give them a lot more pressure, but we do need to see Manui step up and hopefully pick something a little bit early in the draft so he doesn't end up taking 8 bans.
8 bans against bot lane, because reminder, the Seraphine ban is basically a Manui ban. Yeah, that was a little brutal. I do want to mention something, though, that side selection, FlyQuest Challengers are giga chatting side selection. They got to choose which one they wanted, and they opted for red side game 1. Most of the players I've been talking to say the blue side is the advantaged side right now because you get that first pick, and also bot lane's so much easier for you. So I'm curious what game 2 is going to look like. I don't know who's selected which side for this one, but do you want to make a prediction here?
Pick blue side. I don't have to make a prediction if I know.
Okay, so we're going to have the same side selection then. Now, the thing that didn't happen was what I've heard bot laners complain about, which is red side is easily diveable. If you don't pick something that can counter the dive, you are susceptible to it. Ezreal, Karma, they're good at pushing the wave, not necessarily known for being the champions that are going to dive, as well as Manui not always getting the attention from Perry in rosters in the past, because these two have played together. So what do we think about the strategy from DSG and how they played it out? Did you like it and just change some execution, or do you think they need to repivot and say, no, try and focus the bot lane?
I think they had to call an audible this game, right? I think we were kind of hoping for a scuffle up in the top lane the entire time, and we're kind of expecting that. Yeah. I don't think that they expected so many bot lane bans. And so this was a situation where it felt like they weren't necessarily ready to play in a situation where Manui is not playing a champion. I don't necessarily think of Ezreal as a big Manui champion. I think of him playing things that are really able to play kind of from a really long distance, but don't necessarily need to auto attack as much. And Ezreal, despite his Qs, is an auto-attack champion at the end of the day. And so this is going to be one of those spots where I hope Disguise play to the bottom lane a little bit more, give them some of the earlier picks if they can play towards that dive, and let Tenacity and Young have a bit more opportunity for counterpick.
All right, well, I'm hearing that we're going to have a slight delay getting into the game, so we have some more time to break down not just the game itself, but also some of the expectations as well as kind of the format changes that we've had so far throughout the split. A reminder, if you're just joining us right now, we are in best of threes. I touched on that at the beginning, and Fearless Draft. Do you remember, Josh, all the champions locked in that last game? Because not everyone's going to be able to play them throughout the series. Not only is it 8 80 carry bands, technically we could see 9 because Ezreal's not playable by Manui anymore.
We could see 11.
It's just going to keep going.
Yeah, Disguise has to collaborate for that one, you know?
Yeah. So with that, this is the first time that you and I have casted a series like this. Probably the first time a lot of people at home are watching a series like this, where now Perry cannot go back to the Xin Zhao. They didn't get the win, but he can't play it regardless because he played it in game number 1. Same with everything else across the board. This is going to change a lot of the landscape of not just strategy in pick and ban, but players' ability to showcase their champ pools. Manui is somebody who, even though it's a little unconventional, we felt maybe he would excel in a situation like this because he can play a lot of different things. I hope that, like you said, they lock in something earlier for him, though, because I am worried that this could just continue throughout the series.
Yeah. I do want to give something because I've been looking at Twitch chat. We are not doing the full Fearless, as some people have referred to it, where you if a champion is picked or banned, nobody can touch it. It is true that if you pick a champion, your team cannot play it, but the other team is still allowed to. So one of the things that kind of says to me is it makes me wonder if we can see Manui go for the bars right off the bat, because it has been one of the most powerful picks. You have the ability to play lethality, you have the ability to play it on hit. I even see every now and then an AP bars pop up in things like Champions Queue. So it is a very versatile champion, and it will allow Manui to play really far back, and you have good dives coming off of it as well.
Now, I also double down on that because of how many of the bot lane bans that we saw in the first game, because it's not playable by Sajid anymore. So I feel like we're going to see a pivot from that last time where bot lane was not the priority early on in pick ban. I think it'll be a higher priority now because the pool for top lane and for other lanes, it might be a little more, alluring for them. Rumble not being pickable by Surdy is very impactful, though, because Rumble is often blind picked, at least in Champs Queue. When I was co-streaming a lot of those games, you saw a lot of Rumble, a lot of Udyr as well, which we did not see come out this time around as the counter into the Rumble. But now I think Tenacity can breathe a little bit more because they're like, okay, we lost that one, but at least I don't have to worry about arguably the best top laner on the patch right now.
Yeah, I think the one worry that I have a little bit in some of these situations, right, is what oftentimes happen when you saw a team switch sides is the players would just swap champions, right? Like, oh, you play Cassante last game? Okay, it's my turn with the Cassante. You can play the Rumble this time. And so that is one of the things I will be looking at quite a bit from these two teams is how much of the top lane matchup actually affects things. We saw that Surdy had an opportunity to play the Rumble, but I've been thinking about it a little bit, right? Neither of these guys love playing tanks, right? Surdy was never somebody who played things like the Udyr or something that is going to be this really big monster in the top at Dynasty. Eventually, he became known as a bit of an Ornn player from his time on 100 Thieves Academy and later 100 Thieves LCS, where he was able to do that. But if we saw either of these guys playing Udyr, it's just like, that's not really what I expected from this. It's a very different style of bully than either of them have used to be.
You can build it AP, you can build it AD, so it doesn't have to be pure tank, as we saw the Cassante locked in, but that Cassante's not even a tank. They're like assassin, DPS, bruiser, frontliner, backliner, whatever you want to call them. Either way, we're still waiting to get into pick and ban, so rather than us talk about the format, we actually put together a little piece for all of you to break things down. So let's take a look at all the format changes for this year.
Welcome to the 2024 Spring Split of the LCS Challengers League. This spring will feature 10 teams competing in a single round-robin best-of-3 format, and for the first time ever, we'll be implementing Fearless Drafts. If you're not familiar, Fearless Draft adds a new twist to pick and ban. Once a champion is picked by a team in the series, it cannot be picked by them again. So if Team A drafts Teemo in Game 1, they cannot play Teemo for the rest of the series. Team B could pick Teemo in Game 2, but then wouldn't be able to play him in Game 3. And like LCS, all games will be played on the live patch, so you can take what you see from the games and try them out on your own. The top 8 teams from our regular season advance to the NACL playoffs, which will feature a double elimination bracket with a mix of best-of-3 and best-of-5 matches. Alongside the NACL are 2 qualifier tournaments, which will also feature Fearless Drafts on the live patch. The bottom 2 teams from the NACL regular season will compete against the top 4 teams from the qualifiers in a promotion tournament, battling in a double elimination bracket to qualify into the NACL in summer 2024. All LCS Challengers League games and coverage will be available on twitch.tv/LCS_Challengers, with matches starting right after the LCS. And as a reminder, with team revenue shares, every sub in Twitch Prime directly supports the teams and players. Another split of Challengers League begins right now, and we can't wait to see you there.
There you go. We put the whole video together. That explains it way better than you and I can rambling here. But we're getting ready for pick and ban. It's right around the corner. While we're getting into that, I want to touch back on one of the players that we had highlighted earlier. Perry in the jungle for Disguised was getting behind, put very far behind in game number 1. What do you want to see from him going into game 2, Joshi?
Well, the biggest thing I want to see from Perry is a little bit more support from his lanes, right? We did see that the Azir, which has been a very common pick coming through for basically every region, was not in a position to try and help him out. And we also saw that Tenacity, even with the ability to move, ended up not doing so. And I feel as though this is something that a lot of the good teams really understand. The jungle can help the lanes, but the lanes also need to help the jungle. And as we jump into the draft right now, it is going to be a spot where I hope that everybody continues to help him, right? Perry has been a very selfless jungler throughout the course of his career thus far. I want to see him be a little bit more selfish because I think he needs a little bit more resources to contest with someone like Shaden.
I think you can go one of 2 ways if you're Perry and the team here. I agree. If we want to go for Perry on a higher intensity, earlier ganking jungler, the team needs to play to that. If you're going to draft the way that you had last time, where it's more about kind of losing lanes and just grouping up for team fights, I suppose, you can go for something like a Graves. You can go for something like a Viego, something that is happier to just power farm rather than looking for these early action plays. But we didn't see that in game 1, obviously. What we are seeing is a repeat of the same bans. There we go. All right. So a reminder, this means Manui cannot play the Ezreal or the Lucian, Kalista, Seraphine, Senna, Ashe.
Yeah. And that is definitely another spot where, as we are looking at it, it does mean that the draft has to be different. We cannot do the salty runbacks. This is not what we're looking at. It's not the podcast you guys should definitely watch, run by my roommate. Instead, this is going to be Aphelios coming out as the first pick, and this is a very different look. We said I wanted Manui to have an opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive, played to a little bit more, and by picking this Aphelios early, one, you don't need to ban him nearly as much, but also you have some tools where he can play a very high utility and also a very high damage style.
Yeah, I was surprised they banned him last time around. I felt that Manui would have wanted this champion in game 1, but they have it in game 2. It's locked in nice and early. The counter from FlyQuest Challengers is now going to be the Maokai locked in. Still fairly flexible. We don't know exactly where that's going to go yet. It's mostly being played in the jungle currently still, as it has been in past patches, but technically flexible. And then they're waiting on their next pick here. It's going to be the Azir, so we're just trading back and forth. Young can't play it, so Quad says, all right, it's up. Let's lock it in.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting that they are picking it this early on in the draft because you know your opponents can't take it away from you. But I also want to highlight that when we see Shaden play in tanks, historically, he's been a Sejuani player. We did not see that many games on the Maokai from him last year, and this is an opportunity for him to showcase a little bit of a different style, right? If he feels as though the people around him are strong enough carries, we know that Shaden is willing to take a bit of a backseat to some of the other players, and this is an opportunity for him to make sure that the rest of his team is set up. But Perry, I mean, we are already looking at it. We were asking for him to take a little bit more of an active role in this coming game. He's going to be playing the Vi, and that means he's got a point and click where he can just make sure that they can lock down the single targets that they want to.
Can be very active early, but in my opinion, I like the Vi more in a later game scenario than the Xin Zhao. Xin Zhao is nice with your ult. You can try and dodge out damage, but as you had highlighted, the past comp had a lot of range or melee threats that the Xin Zhao had to worry about. Vi, at least, you can always be useful as that forced engage option against something even like an Azir. Won't be able to just shuffle you away. You're going to get knocked up. Now, pair that with the Aatrox. There's a couple different builds you can go with this. I've seen things like the Sundered Sky early on it. I've seen things like the Divine Sunderer early on it, or rather, Spear Sojin early on it. There are options you can go towards depending on the matchup. Let's see what Surdy wants to play into it.
Yeah. I am already a little bit worried here for Disguised Kangas. It is definitely a very tough position to try and play this going into the Maokai and the Azir. And it really says to me that Disguised, compositionally, I don't feel as though they are scaling poorly, but they are definitely a composition that will need to be ahead going into the mid game, because you try and get through the Maokai ultimate, you try and get through the Emperor's Divide, you are not going to be having easy ways to get towards the back line. And now this Jax comes through, it's a pretty decent matchup in the top lane, and also a sturdy specialty. We knew that he was always one of the best Camille and Jax players in the Challengers League during his time when he was here, and now he can really reduce a lot of the damage that's already coming through due to the fact that it's a lot of auto attacks that we see, a lot of physical damage coming through from the Disguised half of the map.
Good point. And now they can also ban away some of these mid laners. There's the LeBlanc ban. Shout out to LeBlanc players. You have been through the ringer. What do you build on this? Is it AP? Is it AD? Who knows? I personally am not a believer in the energized stacking LeBlanc. I know a lot of people think it's busted.
Oh, right.
I don't see it. But either way, we're not going to have to watch it this game.
Yeah. I'm a little bit surprised, and I want to shout out Shauna is Yo Daddy coming through in Twitch chat as well. One of the champions that has been one of the classic counter picks to Azir here in the mid lane has been Akali as well. And Akali has been a terror in solo queue and champs queue recently, and we know it's one of Young's best champions. So I'm kind of hoping that we see it come through here just because it is such a strong pick. They're hovering it. Please give it to us. This is a way to upset the balance of this game. Yes, you need this backline access. You need to get to the backline, and you need to be able to stay there. And Akali is one of the champions that can do it.
Shout out to Sean in Twitch chat. How'd you know? How'd you know it was coming? Bard logged in as well for Poom. So one of the more creative supports. I love this champion, but oh, wait a minute. This hover from Chime would pretty hard counter this bot lane. They don't have a lot of defensive tools to stop the rocket grab from coming in, and I actually do like this here. If Chime locks this in, it could be great for their top lane, their bot lane, mid. I would give to the Akali, but there's still a lot of options for FlyQuest to play around.
Yeah, I definitely look at this FlyQuest roster, or this FlyQuest composition, and say, you know, it sounds so simple. You just have to do nothing. You just have to let your opponents jump on top of you, but it's way more difficult when you actually have to play this game. Because yes, you have the Maokai, yes, you have the Azir, you have the ultimate coming out from the Xayah as well. But with all these tools, if you use them at the wrong time, suddenly it becomes very easy for Disguise to jump in and take down some of the big DPS members right away. And so, this is a spot where Disguise, they want to take control of this game relatively early on. And the one place that I feel as though they have a fantastic opportunity to do it is in the mid lane. Young got his Akali. He's going into an Azir. This is a fantastic counter matchup. And if you can put Quad behind in mana with just Perry showing up and forcing a Shifting Sands out of Quad, you can get huge advantages for Young.
And Quad looked incredible on the Yone in game number 1. A reminder, these are the first games we get to see of Quad in North America going up against the defending champion in the NACL. But now we get to see his Azir. Does his mage gameplay match his melee kind of AD gameplay?
Yeah, interesting. You do see him going not for a Conqueror or for a Hail of Blades. Instead, he's going for the Fleet Footwork coming in. And Chime, Blind Rocket Grab? No one's there.
Ooh.
We know that. Oh. I don't think that
got
in the
the
bush.
ward in there, though. Nice.
All right, well, we tried.
That's a hard one to land.
Huh? It didn't look like it actually went in, but can't tell.
I mean, we were looking at red. Oh, no, we weren't looking at red vision. I'm actually unsure. It looks like it's in. Is that hey, observers, can we get a zoom in? There's nothing happening in early game. Is that in the brush? It's got to be.
I think it's not, but we'll find out.
You know, I guess we could just ask for a red vision toggle. That would
oh
probably
my gosh,
be
hold on. Do I have
that?
I have special new buttons that I completely forgot about in game 1.
Oh, incredible.
Okay.
I didn't even know we had... Well, I did know we had buttons. I don't know how to access the special buttons.
But
they scare me.
I can do this, and I can hide it again. I can show this, and I can hide it again.
Okay.
Ooh.
Beautiful.
But I can't toggle the vision at this point.
Hey, we got the NACL banners on there as well. Thank you, observers, for highlighting that. That was incredible.
I was looking at the middle of the screen. I was like, what am I looking at? There's not even an animal here. We figured it out. But
I don't even know
this is, hold on. This is sturdy.
Really
this
cool.
is sturdy classic.
Oh, yeah. Pushing Tenacity away from the wave. Starts with a trade, and you know what? It didn't actually turn out to be as cool as I thought it was going to be.
But that's one of the things that Surdy loves doing. He and Darshan have always been the kinds of players that will start scrapping at level 1. They will play to maximize their level 1, and he did get all of the CS right off the bat, so it is going to be a small advantage coming through, but it is going to be a very difficult lane for the Aatrox to play in a couple of levels. And right now, any little advantage you can get just makes it even more tough for Tenacity to play later.
Career all-time throughout LCK Challengers, has played 4 games of Azir. Only 1 and 3 on the champion, so not a very high percentage win rate, but also notable, not many professional games played on it. So it is meta right now, but this is going to be an interesting look to see has Quad been putting in the practice and the games to really master this champion in a pretty tough matchup, because we have seen Yun be very comfortable in this matchup himself. So yeah, we'll keep our eyes on that mid lane.
I think it's really good at level 3. Anything before level 3 is like not super exciting for the Akali. You really want access to both the Shuriken flip and, this is where it could be an opportunity, right? As soon as Young gets access to both the Shroud and the Shuriken flip, if you land that E, it's a ton of damage and a guaranteed winning trade going into the Azir. But you do have to land it, and now with this lane getting pushed out by Quad, he does have to be a little bit more careful because it is a long enough lane that you can take a ton of damage, and Perry can come in and force you to burn the Shifting Sands early.
Denying a couple of minions from Young, though, as he's trying to get the wave underneath that turret. Boom already on an early roam because Manui goes for an early back. Picks up the Cole. Again, the gentleman's agreement. We're not backing for that support item. We're backing for the item that AD carries are intended to build to stack up their gold. We do see Perry on the top half of the map here. Surdy being very confident because he knew Shaden was nearby, but Perry makes it there first. Surdy does not flash yet. Now flashes away from Perry to avoid that extra damage. He gets it out of there and is in a rough spot still. I mean, he's got teleport, but his wave will crash.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be okay for Tenacity, but the teleport does mean that Surdy should get most of this, but this has been one of the weaknesses of Surdy that we've seen historically.
Ooh, flash forward from Chime. Sajid's not ready, and now Boom gets the exhaust down. Stun onto Sajid in the wave, but because of said wave, they cannot walk up. I don't know if Chime and Sajid were on the same page there. They weren't really... Sajid was not ready to follow up immediately.
I almost feel as though Sajid expected an immediate flash coming through from Manui, but ultimately everybody gets away just fine. Boom was a little bit closer than FlyQuest Challengers probably thought at this point. And so, you know, no harm, no foul at the end of the day. So Manui will get most of this wave. But I do want to talk about the one weakness that we saw, right? Surdy has been a player that is so focused on the 1v1 top lane, he sometimes forgets some of the other ways to play.
Boom and Manui walking up very confidently with the Gravitum, past the minion wave. As soon as that rocket grab is down. Curious if they were going to go for anything more there. Surdy and Tenacity still find themselves in a 1v1 here, not trading too heavily against each other yet, though. They did get that wave and teleports that come in from both top laners. And no sizable lead, but that is a slight lead for Tenacity as he has that extra longsword over Surdy right now.
Yeah. Junglers as well have been fairly quiet other than Perry trading flashes with Surdy up in the top lane. I do always like that coming out from characters like the Bai, because you know that as soon as you hit level 6, you're going to have way more opportunity to get on top of them than they will have opportunities to run away. And so we have to expect a repeat gank towards the top side, especially as Perry starts getting access to that level 6, and it will definitely be before Surdy has access to that flash once again. But at the same time...
You know what we can do, Josh?
What's up?
We can take a look at the XP. You have control of the situation. We can see how close Perry is.
Oh my
let's
gosh.
Go! Where is he? Where is he? Where's Perry?
He's halfway down.
Wait, that's the wrong champion.
Oh, that
was
is.
the last game. It's okay. Wait, is that correct?
I think. Hold on.
I think.
Perry, let's see. Surdy is level 5. I think the bars are correct, but the champions are wrong.
The bars are going down. Interesting.
Yeah, we'll figure
you
it
know
out.
what? He's level 5. And he's on the top half of the map. And he is doing, I would argue, better than last game. He was down about 3 camps at this time, but Shaden on the map has not been as active. Oh, okay. Well, we looked mid lane at the right time. As Quad has a swing and a miss onto Young. He's going to want that back.
That's all right. It's not all right. This is going to be a very tough lane for a little while for Quad. The fact that he misses that, the fact he's already down to half mana and has like,
Well, that's what the flash was for. He has cleanse as well, but one more auto might have it from Sajid. He wasn't taking turret. He was just outside of the range. I know he is still alive, though. Poom landed a really solid stun there. They're going for the dragon. Shaden should have this one. Next rocket grab, if it lands on a Manui, should seal his fate. And now with both summoner spells down, does Shaden even look for a dive? Yeah, I think that Manui and Poom have to walk all the way back here. They're going to have to go for a reset.
Chime being a little cheeky blitzcrank on the other side, but ultimately we are seeing another game where Sajid and Chime are beating out on Manui and Poom. Very different champions coming through, but it will be at least one plate getting picked up here for Sajid as they do back away. But that is one of the big places where, oh, wait, hold on. I can show gold.
Yeah, you can.
These are the wrong champions. Okay, I'm going to hide that again.
I hope the numbers are at least correct.
The numbers are right.
But you know what? We'll have our tech people get a better look at that one later on.
They're a little smarter than we are.
Oh, by far. Either way, Sajid feeling great here. Look at the item disparity here. I swapped from support to bot lane late into the ranked season. Not to great success, but middling. But one thing I have learned is that Noon Quiver, huge spike for a bot laner on an early back. It feels so much better to CS and just push waves, control the waves once you have that item.
Yeah. And ultimately, right now, Sajid all by himself is his friends are up on the top side of the map. And Tenacity getting pushed in a little bit. This should be a dive.
Yeah, we have the Blitzcrank up here. Shaden's going to throw out the ultimate. Tenacity will try and run away. He does escape. Uses flash. Teleport coming in from Young. Trying to lock down Chime now. The Blitzcrank suddenly finds himself in an awkward position. He has flash. Doesn't flash yet. Oh! Perfect execution. Young. Oh, he still gets him. And Tenacity almost lives through it as well. Young, how hard do you want to play this? Do you want to go for the kill at the 30? No. We're just going to take the 1-for-1. A very funny interaction between Chime and Young. But at the end of the day, Young does still get a wave up top, so he's feeling fine.
And so 1-for-1, and Surdy is the one who is able to stick around a little bit, but Young will push everything under the turret. Chime comes back, and so Sajid will lose a little bit. Overall, it's kind of a null play. Tenacity losing the flash, Chime also losing the flash, kind of the biggest places across the map where we will see a sudden difference. But we also have to notice that I really like this play coming in from FlyQuest Challengers, even though it took them a little longer to burst out Tenacity than they probably hoped to. The fact that they're like, we're not going back over the wall, we're going to go forward on the other side, that's a sign of a team that is working together. Oh no, he's dead.
Oh, Young with the outplay. Wait for it, get the kill! Young with the solo kill onto Surdy.
We said it wasn't going to be easy. We said it wasn't going to be easy. Disguise now on the board. 2 kills going over to Young on one of his signature champions coming through as well. Takes down Surdy. We were just saying this might have been a spot for Surdy to rocket ahead of where Tenacity is, but he stays too long, takes that shuriken flip, and now his lead is gone.
And I don't think he can stop the back. Yeah, he's out of there. Young gets away. The only returning member from the championship run roster of Summer NACL. And he is showing up in Game 2 of this series. Game 1, much more rough. Again, going back to the composition, it was tough for the comp to actually pull off much of anything. This time around, they are not having that problem. It has been a much more action-packed early game, and Young's been the benefactor. 2 kills now, and even CS against the Azir, as well as getting that kill onto Surdy top lane, puts Surdy even further behind against Tenacity. So I think that DSG in a much better spot this time around, obviously, as I'm just noticing, I believe the top of the screen has the teams flipped right there.
Oh, true.
Psyched me out for a moment, but I'm good. I'm caught up. We're good. We're good.
Yeah. But now, we got to start looking at when the next dragons are going to be spawning, how people are going to be playing around the Void Grubs, because I know that Disguised got the first one because the first dragon ended up going over to FlyQuest. So if they get these, it's going to be the Twitch chatters once again hanging out in favor of Disguise. They are going to be on one team. And so Disguise will have a little bit more ability to push down all these structures. And so I really like this position that Disguise is currently in, just because they have the tools. They have a strong akali. Suddenly, they have the tools to start pushing down objectives. They have ways to get into the backline, but they need to continue to accelerate this lead. The fact that Sajid and Chime are so far ahead down in the bot lane does present its own problem throughout the course of this game.
Yeah. I'm happy you bring that up because we can sing the praises of DSG. They're having a fantastic start to this game with a 1,000 gold lane for themselves, a lot of that being an advantage for Young. I think that this is also a great test for Sajed here, as Quad actually goes for the play now onto Young. Perfect execution in. Rocket grab, dodged with the flash, and he goes back. Wait a minute. That was a fun movement there from Young. Doesn't amount to much of anything at the end of the day, as he had already burned the flash. But as I was saying, I think that this is a great chance for Sajed to show why we are excited for this player, because the Xayah has been set up to succeed in this game.
Yeah. Also, really am looking forward to see how Tenacity plays. Oh,
ooh, flash engage from Perry. We're just going to lock down Quad. He's got no flash anymore. Young with the kill credit. And that is now a 3-0 Akali. Perry said, we are going in now. I got the big red R button.
yeah, and that does mean that there's going to be no flash coming out for Quad or for Perry, admittedly, for this dragon fight, as it does spawn, and we... I like that little tech from Poom, throwing down the heal just to make sure that he can see if the dragon is going over. But they know Shaden was at the wolves because he threw out the ultimate when they were going for the dive here in the mid lane, and just sets DSG up for a perfect opportunity to try and contest more of these objectives. So this is part of why, despite the early dominance that we saw from FlyQuest in Game 1, we were saying it is not going to be over. We have Disguise as one of our top teams in this league for a reason, and they are ready to fire back based on the only returning player that they have.
That's all the kills. I mean, it's 3-1. All three of those are on Young right now, but they're not actually utilizing the Akali to control these early dragons. FlyQuest Challengers will get the second one. Seems uncontested, as we're actually prepping to dive onto Surdy top lane. Surdy's playing it back. I'm looking at the mini-map here. Yeah, he will spot that Perry is nearby. He jumps in, but he does not know that Poom is there. Maybe an ill-advised jump forward. There's exhaust down on top of the stun, and Surdy's actually still doing a lot of damage to Perry. It's out with his life. Chime's coming in. They're going to lose the wave. They're going to lose the Krugs, but all things considered, not too bad. Now Quad joins in. Finally, they kill Perry. DSG stuck around for a little too long. Tenacity pops a World Ender. He's going to look back onto Surdy, try to get the kill for himself. Flashes forward. One more auto should have it. He gets to him. It's not enough.
The kill!
Oh, he jumps to the minions. Tenacity. He barely missed the math. I thought he had it.
Young's here.
Bonus damage. It was not enough. Quad jumps further forward. Can get the kills there. I don't think Young's got enough in the tank. He's got perfect execution, but he jumps away rather than further in, and DSG crumble as they look to push Surdy off of the top wave.
A total disaster across the map coming through. Sajed still down here in the bottom lane, still farming. Here's a teleport coming out from Quad. It might not be done. They're looking for Manui.
Yeah, we're onto the mid lane now. Manui in a lot of trouble, has to flash away. Shaden's on top of him. Shaden's taking the damage. The red and white. Manui is ready to fight.
Oh, it's not done.
Re-engage onto Quad. He doesn't have flash. Perry has the big red button and says, I want to go in. Quad barely escapes with his life. I don't know how these champions are living with like single-digit health so often in this series, but it is making for some entertaining fights.
Yeah, I mean, it's just too many years ultimately for Manui. He stays alive during that whole thing. What?
What was that?
What?
That was a Bard portal of all time right there. I know your pain, Poom. I played enough Bard to feel that exact moment.
All right, with all that said and done, I feel as though the disaster from Disguise has been undone a little bit based on the fact that FlyQuest immediately try and make a play in the mid lane and get punished. But the big problem is at the end of all of this, yes, there's a 4-0 Akali. Oh no. Yeah. Well, a hook lands. That's another problem.
Solid hook from Chime.
But now Quad has 3 kills of his own, and Sajed is on the board and was able to get the turret down in the bottom lane. He's been able to farm uncontested, the second highest farm in this game. There are multiple problems on both sides of the map, but while we say that there's multiple for DSG, Young feels like he might be the only problem because Tenacity and Perry have not been able to get the gold necessary to skyrocket themselves to be real threats to Sajed.
Perry will still always just be able to press R, but Tenacity, not the same story. You do fall behind against the Jax, and Surdy's at that point now with the Trinity Force completed. He might be able to take these 1v1s. Oh, he's actually running away. World Ender used. He jumps onto Poom, says, you're my escape out of here, buddy. Oh, but the damage is there for Tenacity, and he dunks down onto Surdy.
Now, we talked about it a little bit earlier. This is one of Surdy's biggest problems. He's very convinced that he's always right about his damage calculations in these 1v1s, and sometimes, he gets caught out. Now Chime is too.
Looking for more here. Oh, Poom. Beautiful. Cue from Bard, but Chime's still alive. Flash onto the turret. Oh! And the turret's in stasis. Wait, what?
What?
What? What just happened right there?
I want to see a replay from that. I feel like
that turret should have been in Bard stasis. That landed immediately, like directly on it.
Wow.
I don't know if that was a bug or what's going on. I would ask for a pause if I'm FlyQuest, or rather DSG right there.
I don't know. That's crazy. We do know that we don't have access to Chrono Break this week, but that's definitely a spot where it's like, I don't feel as though that is supposed to be what happens, but either way, another turret goes down to the bottom lane, another turret gets picked up by a Disguise here in the mid lane as well, and so this creates a lot of pressure on the map where they are still up 1,000 gold, but so much of it is concentrated on one player who was not there for the play.
The only thing I could think of is because the outer turret had not been taken, there's a chance. I don't know if I've ever actually Bard ulted a turret that is not the furthest out, but let's take another look at this. Here's the replay. So good on Chime to survive this long. Yeah, I don't know. That should have been in Bard stasis unless the game is coded that if the outer turret's still up, you can't interact with that turret because you can't auto it, right?
Yeah. I mean, Peter Deplied up on
really
chat, shout out
odd.
to that, says that is the reason. But you have played
That's
a
the
lot
reason,
more
okay.
Bard than I have. I am surprised that it works that way, but it is what it is. We have another Dragon going down over to FlyQuest Challengers, but the Rift Herald is going to get picked up here by Disguise. They keep themselves in the game. They have just enough of a lead that it feels as though the game is still playable. If they were even a little bit further behind, it becomes a really big problem for them. So, for the past several minutes, we've been seeing Young off in the side lane, trying to make sure that they can farm up everything that they need to, make sure that they are strong enough to get to their second item. And now, this is where we're going to have to start seeing them start making plays for the rest of the map, coming down and actually contesting some of these objectives. And if Young doesn't teleport for this upcoming Dragon, I'm not sure how they're really going to find an opportunity to win.
I mean, I'm still looking at the potential here from the Jax getting back into the game. Jax has kind of been put behind here because Tenacity has gotten a lot more CS over him. We're actually on the Dragon stacking here. Young's got teleport, but he's not teleporting in yet. Surdy will just catch out Perry in the brush. Now the teleport comes through. Perry trying to survive as long as he can. Flashes away. That Bard ultimate does.
Oh, they got Young!
Oh, he gets hooked back! Chime! American Sniper!
Oh!
Shut down to Quad, and all of the gold for DSG is taken out of the fight instantly. It's all Young. Young is DSG right now, and without the Akali, that Dragon is almost guaranteed to FlyQuest Challengers.
That's huge. They get the Dragon, they get 2 kills off of it. Like you said, Chive coming through. He's got the bullseye. Everything is set up. He headshots Young. And suddenly, FlyQuest, they're not down gold anymore. They're not down in any real metric at this point. And so this is where we start to see Quad take over the game. This is where we start to see Sajid take over the game. And as we take another look at this, I mean, see Perry walking in. This new pixel brush on the bottom side of the map ends up being the downfall here for Disguise. But even with the teleport coming through, it's a perfect position. He even flashes. He predicts the flash coming out of Young as well.
Wow. And everyone from FlyQuest Challengers playing around Poom's ultimate incredibly well, too. If Tempered Fate lands on more members there, you also probably still survive, but like 4 out of 5 were able to sidestep that. That was almost an insane Tempered Fate, but it only lands onto Surdy, and it's all Chime all day long. Speaking of, did we just cast or curse him? No, he's got the team around him. He pulls back Perry, says, you're the one actually caught. And Quad now going unstoppable, gets the shutdown, gets that kill as well. Boom lands a clutch stun there.
Watch
They have Manui and the Aphelios carry this fight. They got Vision, they're onto Quad. Young trying to jump in on top of him as well. Who's going to CC him? Perfect Execution does not kill Shaden, but he does jump back in with a shuriken, finally goes down. Took a while, and there it is. The extra burst damage from the new items helping get the kill onto Chime. So it's a 2-for-2 trade at the end of the day.
But look at who has so much pressure still. Uh-oh, Sajid!
Oh, okay, still has the ultimate available, though. Exhaust goes down onto Surdy instead of Sajid. So Sajid can actually walk up now. Has the flash. Ooh, flashes forward to try and get the kill onto Tenacity. Not quite enough, but does kill the turret before Quad goes down as Quad cleared out Manui.
Yeah, gotta make sure we get those target champion only buttons right in there. We saw Quad go for an auto attack. Probably could have picked up another kill onto Tenacity, but everything once again coming up FlyQuest in these plays. They are so confident in their ability to make plays. And you know what it reminds me of? Reminds me of the Team Liquid Academy that ended up promoting like 3 of their 4 players, or 3 of their 5 players directly to LCS immediately after. This is the kind of dominance we're already seeing from this roster. They go for plays. Quad is a massive standout. Sajid hasn't needed to do anything cool so far in this entire series because he hasn't been put under pressure. And if you don't need to put, like, if Disguise can't put Sajid under pressure, I'm not sure what other teams will be able to.
The bot lane pool is looking still pretty competitive, but Sajid's one of the players. He's new, he just got promoted, but we have high expectations and a lot of hope for this player's development. You and I got to watch a lot of his play during the Combine tryouts in the offseason, which is kind of where I got my first look at him, and nothing but impressed from his play so far. Like you said, hasn't really been going crazy. That one, that flash was a little awkward, but actually it's not about him, it's about Chime right now, who's in the brush waiting for a pick, but he's getting picked himself. Everyone's there, takes the Bard portal away. Perry cannot kill him. Young's chasing him down. One more shuriken should have it. Oh, another pull back, but Manui snipes with the ultimate. Shaden and Surdy run away. We're establishing control around the Baron. I think we're just going to start this.
It feels like a bit of a desperation play, but you absolutely have to make these happen right now. Tenacity was pushed out a little bit, but this is a perfect spot, and Young is in the perfect flank.
Baden's going to watch, though. He's going to face check and see that Young was there. The Baron has a lot more tank stats, and now we're trying to get onto Young. Shaden says, I'll just engage onto the Akali. We're not killing the Baron fast enough. Young jumps over the wall. I think Shaden will have a chance to steal. He's got flash. He flashed into the pit.
Oh, he gets it!
You Smitey got it! Shaden with the Baron.
Oh, no!
Quad with a shuffle gets the double kill for himself. Says, I'll even take Manui as an extra little treat. Triple kill, Baron steal. FlyQuest Challengers are making a statement in Series 1 of Summer.
This is your number...
Same thing.
This is your number 1 team already coming in. People had these guys in a tier of their own, and they are showcasing exactly why. The perfect smite coming out on the other side from Shane and Quad, doing so much damage over the wall, goes right on in, catches multiple people, even able to pick up Young as he tries to come through. Sajid, I mean, we said he hasn't had to do anything impressive, and again, he's just able to rip apart Tenacity in that last fight. They are up 5,000 gold. They have 3 dragons to their name. They are breaking down turrets left, right, and center, and FlyQuest Challengers. We said it wasn't going to be an easy 2-0. I'd say this game was less easy than game 1, but the fact that they are just able to turn all of these fights, even 4v5, is immaculate from this roster.
If we just watch the first 15 minutes of the game, it's a hard game. If we only watch from 15 on, that's when it starts to be like, wait, is this an easy game? Why is FlyQuest Challengers just able to do this? I'm going to give a lot of credit to Chime still. I feel like this Blitzcrank has been the biggest reason. Okay, Shane, we're going real deep right here. We have Quad behind, but he's into stasis now. Chime pulls back Parry. We don't have damage onto Shaden, though. Manui's trying to get it in. They stun up Quad. He jumps away right onto Young. Can Young take the 1v1? Quad's winning this 1v1. Finally, Young does get the kill, but the rest of the fight is not going great for DSG. They're all split all around the jungle. Very flash over the Dragon Pit wall, and Shaden's still there. The Dragon's gonna lock them in place. Back onto Chime. Sajed is there, says, I'll just auto attack a few times to get that free kill for myself. And we're right onto the Dragon's Soul. FlyQuest Challengers still win that fight.
And that was a fight where Quad spent like half of it stunned. He didn't really have a lot of tools for most of that fight. He was just getting ripped apart by Young, and he's still, like you said, he almost won that 1v1, and now Young has to try and do something to save this turret.
Ooh, he knew that Chime was in the brush and low on health. Oh, what a knockup from Tenacity right there. Sajid does have the ultimate. Surdy will be the sacrificial lamb here. Tenacity gets that kill, and Sajid and Chime get away now. The Dragon Soul finally picked up. I think FlyQuest Challengers were a little over-eager in that instance. No slow, no knockup. Tenacity can't get onto Sajed. Sajed now finally pops the ultimate and will outplay Tenacity. Young flashing forward. Doesn't get rooted up, but a double kill regardless for Sajed as Quad teleported in to take down Poom. Rocket grab over the wall. Manui's out of there, and FlyQuest Challengers with the Baron buff, with the Dragon Soul. This could just be game.
It's looking absolutely doomed at this point. Whether or not FlyQuest Challengers win the game right here, they got to come back for another play. It's a little bit immaterial at this point. They are feeling on fire every single roll, playing at full. And like you said, I was going to talk about how much effect Quad was having on the game. Chime is also absolutely looking stellar. Every single hook is landing.
Harry's trying his best to keep the team in this. Cannot clear out the minion wave, cannot kill any of the opposition. Bought a little bit of time. Poom with the ultimate. Does slow down the turret taking. Tenacity's up now. Sasha doesn't have a lot to work with, but neither does Tenacity. Just a green screen in front of him. Now Young's respawn. Quad with a shuffle. FlyQuest still trying to outplay, still trying to end the game right here, right now. Massive shutdown for Young as Sajed will fall. Quad goes back in. He sees Manui. There's no turrets left. Quad is the main character, and he says, watch what I can do. NA mids who? Reigning champion Y Quad making a massive statement in his first series in North America with a massive performance on the Azir champion. Okay, as I say that, he will probably go down. Are we gonna end the game? Not like this, FlyQuest. Parry doesn't have the damage. Shaded though. Shaded's got the minions. They're gonna have it. One more auto. Come on, Shaded, let's go!
That's crazy. Quad gets the 1v2 and even gets the 50 gold off the Nexus. He has enough time, enough health to do that. This team is the real deal, you guys. We knew this team was going to storm on, but there's always the questions in the early weeks, like, are people going to be synergizing? Are people going to be willing to take all these plays? And the answer is a resounding yes from this FlyQuest roster. Everyone was playing well. Like, the only person that we could even shine like a little bit of criticism on is probably Surdy, but he was also playing the best offlaner that we were expecting to be in this league, and he was holding his own, and he was trying to make things happen. They didn't all go well, but I mean, the way that we see Quad going for plays over and over, the way that he recognizes in that last fight is like, hey, I don't need to do anything. I can just sit here and right-click on enemy champions, and then when you finally threaten me, then I'll start to use my abilities. This is a roster that is going to take this entire league by storm.
I think Quad and Chime are the two that are really turning heads after that first series. I want to give credit to both of those in particular. Hopefully we can hear from one of them as we're going to send it to a short break before we come back with an interview from the winning team right after this.